New business models. In our last lesson, we talked about Napster as a company that forever changed our business models. Napster was a new and very uncontrolled platform for distributing and promoting music. This was a huge turning point for us, and after the digital revolution began, new business models began to emerge. We're going to review some of the most used business models today. We have the open music model, the donation model, and the fan-funded model. First, let's look at the open music model. The open music model is based on the idea that music is a service and not a product. We made it into a product when we innovated the ability to record and manufacture music. But essentially, it is a service. So the open music model treats the music as a service. It can be either given away for free or streamed as much as the fans desire. If it's given away for free, then revenue needs to be made off of ancillary products. Those are products that surround the music, like merchandise. Or the music can be streamed as much as desired for a minimal subscription fee to using the service platform. We typically see this open music model as a streaming service like Pandora or Spotify today. But we also see it among individual artists, like this one. Pretty Lights. Pretty Lights is known for their open music model. As Chuck D mentioned in the debate, artists can give their music out for free and make money off of ancillary sources like merchandise, tours, and brand partnerships. Pretty Lights distributed their music for free through Pirate Bay. They promoted the campaign on both Pirate Bay, their website called prettylightsmusic.com, and through social media and their newsletter. They made money off of merchandise, touring, and brand sponsors. You can see my list here. It says Touchpoint channels. That's the distribution and promotional channels. You can call them just distribution if you want, but Pirate Bay, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, which is social media, live, right? Email, you gotta have the email list, and prettylightsmusic.com. If you look at their metrics on Next Big Sound, you can see the spikes on the traffic they got to their website and the SoundCloud page every time they ran a promotion on Pirate Bay. You can see at the top it says the metrics, effective BitTorrent promotion on the Pretty Lights web traffic. You can see that spike, it jumps right up on the one little area in the middle there, and then the promotion went down for a bit on that second little chart, and then the third chart shows that they reignited and it spiked again. And then at the bottom there you can see it in red, SoundCloud plays for each of the promotions. So again, very successful. Open music models have worked well for many artists in the past. In 2008, we saw success with Trent Reznor's band, Nine Inch Nails. Nine Inch Nails made $1.6 million in the first week that their album was available for download. They provided the 9 tracks of the music free under a Creative Commons license. And then they provided products with multi-tiered package prices. They sold out of the $300 deluxe versions within 30 hours. They had so much traffic to their website that they had to add server space and redesign the entire platform for distribution. It was just too heavy on the traffic. But think about who these artists are that I'm talking about. Pretty Lights, Nine Inch Nails. These artists have a huge fan base behind them. So that is key to having a successful release no matter what. You need a solid fan base. Now let's look at the donation model, which is usually called the pay what you want model. The most successful donation campaign was Radiohead's album In Rainbows back in 2007. Radiohead said they made more money online than they did with all of their previous albums combined. But again, this artist had a huge fan base. A music blog called Torrent Freak, they looked at a donation-based site called Jamendo that was a donation-based music platform for artists. Jamendo, they launched in 2005, and they became the largest music sharing platform on the internet for many years. They found that only half of 1% of their users ever donated money to the indie artist. So if an indie artist plans to go with the donation model, they should not depend on the donations as a main source of income. But making their music available for free is definitely part of a viable business model. So the open music model seems to make more sense for smaller artists. This right here, you can see I have the album In Rainbows up there, and it says 1.7 million, and they actually got 1.7 million downloads. 60% did not pay. The international average price for the album was $6 that people donated, and then the US average donation was $8. According to Bob Lefsetz, a famous music attorney and avid blogger, he said, just because you give away your main product for free does not mean you can't make money. We live in an attention economy. Your biggest chore is getting people to listen, not to pay for your music. So again, you can make money distributing music with these alternative business models. It just takes the right marketing and promotions plan, and we're going to get into that subject next week. If you're interested in distributing music on a pay-what-you-want basis, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, and Nimbit are good platforms to do just that. And we will look at these platforms in more detail in an upcoming lesson on direct distribution platforms. So get the email address as payment with these donation models. One thing that I like to point out when it comes to giving anything away for free is the necessity of the email list. The only way to truly stay in touch with your fan base is through the email list. It is an essential ingredient to a successful business model today. A single good email address is considered currency in today's business economy. We will get more into that in an upcoming lesson on promotions. Next, we have the fan-funded model. The fan-funded model is centered around crowdfunding campaigns. According to Indiegogo, one of the big music crowdfunding platforms, crowdfunding is described as the pooling of small contributions of funds from a group of people for the purpose of making something larger happen. Essentially, it's the funding of a project by people that are interested in the idea. This could be funding for an album, a tour, merchandise, or in other industries you have creation of film, a video game, or even a product or invention. The fans or supporters of the project are provided a reward for their contributions. So they would get the album or merchandise, for example. Some artists do fan funding on their own, like this artist here. I found her website back in 2008, and she had a successful campaign called jillsnextrecord.com. You can see her campaign reward list here. It starts at $10 for a free digital album, and it goes up to the thousands, just like we see on our platforms like Kickstarter today. The idea of crowdfunding music online developed at the end of the 1990s when a British rock group called Marillion, it was either Marillion or Marillion, they raised money for a US tour on the internet from fans. So in 2003, ArtistShare was one of the first online crowdfunding platforms for music. They are now in a partnership with a legendary jazz label called Blue Note Records. You've probably heard of them. I have a link to the partnership page below this video. If you'd like to pause this video and check it out, go ahead. Other big crowdfunding sites for artists include Indiegogo, Celeband, Pledge Music, Kickstarter, and feedthemuse.net. So you can check any of those out at any time, and you can also just run a Google search and see who the big ones are of today. You never know. Sometimes they change. Sometimes we get one new one and it just kind of really blows up. The fan-funded model has become the new big business model for indie artists. This right here is Julia Nunez. She had a goal of $15,000, like many indie artists, but ended up with almost $80,000. If you look at her backers, though, you can see that she has almost 2,000 backers, almost 1,700 really, but that's a lot of support. In May 2012, an artist that was released from her recording contract from Roadrunner Records in 2010 became an overnight success in the crowdfunding world. Amanda Palmer created a campaign to fund her new album and an art book and tour. Within 30 days, she raised approximately $1.2 million. She was able to do this in part because of the huge amount of fans that she had already acquired. One of the keys to understanding in crowdfunding is that you need a solid amount of followers either on social media or an email list. The amount of supporters you have correlates to how much money you can achieve in one of these campaigns. If you don't have supporters, it will not happen for you. The conversion rates for campaigns are typically 0.5 to 5%, meaning that if you have 100 followers and you get one person to give you money, then you have a 1% conversion rate. I always say stick with an expectation of about 1 to 4% conversion rate for a campaign. So if your artist has 1,000 followers, expect 10 to 40 people to donate. And that's with heavy promotion. But Amanda Palmer has been an inspiration in the music industry. She was so successful that she ended up having her own TED Talk. The video is posted below. If you want to watch it, you really should, if you haven't. And then she wrote a book called The Art of Asking, and it is now a New York Times bestseller. Amanda is now using the reoccurring crowdfunding site called Patreon to fund her ongoing projects. The link to the page you see here is posted below this video. You can pause this video and check out her newest campaign if you'd like. So what makes a crowdfunding campaign successful? Well, let's look at some of the key elements to a successful campaign. Let's talk about the video that people post about their need for the money. First, you have to make sure that you establish the need for the money with the audience. They don't know what it costs for you to make an album or to make music. So break it down for them. Tell them some details. Next, let's talk about video quality. Is sound or visual quality most important? Well, have you ever watched a horror movie on mute? If so, you know how much sound affects us. Mute a horror movie and you are not so scared as the visuals play out. But close your eyes and hear the sounds and you are still strongly affected. So sound quality is a very important part of this process. Your product is a sound product. Get the audio mastered by an engineer and use good microphones. Like I was saying earlier, you need a solid fan base, and this needs to be an email list so that you can reach out to each and every one of them. The final thing I want to mention is the reward list for the campaign. You want to have a diversity of products. You want to have a diversity of product choices for your audience. You want to start at $1 and go up into the thousands. Imagine if 1,000 people gave you $1, that's $1,000. And what if one person gave you $10,000? It happens. So check out the campaigns on the crowdfunding platforms to get some ideas. So how will you fund your music project? Will you use the open music model, the donation model, or the fan-funded model?